There you go.
Traveling is his profession. Bradley Mayhew writes tourist guides, mostly about Asia. This time, he is working on a very special project, an adventure, an experiment. He retravels a route taken by a merchant from Venice more than 750 years ago. He is happy with any transport he can get. Always east, along the Great Silk Road. Through remote mountain ranges, inhospitable deserts and ancient cities, Bradley Mayhew follows the route of Marco Polo. From Venice to Beijing, through countries such as Iran and Afghanistan, 10,000 kilometers overland, a journey as great an adventure today as in Marco Polo's time. Getting hold of a visa has been far from easy. This is a country with, shall we say, a dubious reputation.
On a train headed for Tabriz. It's good to be here at last.
Bradley Mayhew has been on the road for almost 2 months by now. From Venice, he has traveled through Israel and Syria to Turkey. Now he has reached the 5th country on his route.
Very plush. Tea, coffee, free newspaper. What more could you want? Welcome to Iran. Oh, big bad Iran, the land of the Ayatollahs. It's got such a terrible reputation that for me that just makes it even more interesting. No, I just can't believe that the country is as bad as all the images I see on the TV. So for me, it's an extra thrill to have a look at what the country's really like. You know, just try and get beyond the headlines. And the one thing I've found in my travels is the worse the government, often the nicer the people. So I'm looking forward to getting underneath the skin a little bit.
It hasn't been easy to find a travel companion in Iran, but a friend has helped Bradley with an email address, and now he is here. Arash Saitodi, a young lawyer from Tehran.
You're welcome. Shall we take a cab and go to hotel? Perfect.
Arabs, Turks, Persian Safavids and Russians have ruled over this magnificent trade center located in the west of present-day Iran. Today, 1.5 million people live in Tabriz.
You can see Tabriz is a modern, bustling city, like could be any other city in the Middle East. But then slowly, you see the women are all dressed in black. They're all wearing the hijab, some of them wearing the chador. Then you start to pick out all the details and the color, and each person has their own kind of little bit of makeup, little bit of hair coming out the front. It's a kind of your own silent stamp on the hijab. You have to adjust your eyes.
When Marco Polo reached the Persian Empire, he must have seen buildings like this one. Monumental in scale, sophisticated in detail. The Blue Mosque of Tabriz. It took 33 years to cover the building in blue glazed ceramics.
The colors, the calligraphy, it's the whole kind of sense of grandeur that these buildings are supposed to inspire. This is your insignificance, under Islam. This is exactly what this is meant to do. And the real genius is the dome, because you can imagine in a land here with no wood, how do you create these huge, gigantic buildings? The dome is the answer. For Marco Polo, you can imagine him coming here in the 13th century. These buildings were the skyscrapers of the age. These were epic, sun-baked brick. I mean, this didn't get any more impressive than this. He must have been totally blown away by this kind of architecture on this kind of scale.
The Tabriz Bazaar had been one of the most important hubs along the Silk Road. Goods from China or India were collected here before they were traded on to Europe. For a millennium, carpets have been the most important commodity here, brought from across Persia. Carpet traders are not simply traders. They oversee the entire process of carpet production. Only they can afford the significant investment. A carpet like this from Tabriz, with its typical central rosette, can easily cost up to €10,000 wholesale.
This is my favorite one so far. I'm not sure it's quite going to fit in my backpack, but you know I'm going to try. If only I had a horse or a camel, this would be the one to take.
At the crossroads of the bazaar, traders are relaxing in the middle of the hustle and bustle with a glass of tea. Bradley studies The Wonders of the World, the book of Marco Polo, which during his time, the late 13th century, caused a huge stir in Europe.
Tabriz is a great and noble city. Men of Tabriz get their living by trade and handicrafts, weaving many kinds of beautiful and valuable stuffs of silk and gold. Their merchants make large profits. Here in the carpet bazaar of Tabriz, you can see that nothing much has really changed. The big profits are still here as they were back then.
7,000 shops spread over 7 square kilometers, 24 caravanserais, and as many timche, canopied market halls make Tabriz one of the largest covered bazaars in the world. In one of the eldest timche, second-hand carpets are for sale.
It's really a rich series of designs. You've got like a tree of life design.
It holds always the symbols of Persian gardens. You can find many different types of flowers and tree leaves. It was the most important part of our furniture. We sleep on it, we live in it, we drink in it, we eat in it, and at last we die on it.
Well, these are all woolen carpets, I think, so we're going to try and track down some silk. There's got to be some silk on the Silk Road somewhere, so we're going to do some more detective work and find some.
The Tabriz Bazaar is not only the largest commercial center for Persian carpets. New carpets are designed here as well. Antique ones are restored. And also the yarn from which the carpets are made is dyed right here in the bazaar. Mohammed Sabanchi dyes wool or silk, depending on his customers' orders. Bradley is in luck. A trader has just brought in some raw silk. Natural dyes are still used for carpets of the highest quality. The dyes are for sale in the bazaar as well.
That's the great thing, is that they're not selling just new plastic goods made from China. A lot of these goods are made in these back alleys and just behind the facade that you see. So it's all still going on in the background. It's really nice to see this. There's definitely a Silk Road feel here, just from the bazaars have been here for centuries. And you can kind of feel that through the carpets as well. This has been a carpet centre for, 1,000 years or so. And you get carpets here from all over Asia, from Azerbaijan, from Turkey, from Turkmen carpets, from Bukhara, Pakistan, Afghanistan. They all come in here to Tabriz. It was like a mini Silk Road of its own here. How is it? Good?
where does the silk come from? Arash and Bradley hear that there is a village not far from Tabriz called Khanemu, in which silk is spun.
30 to 40 kilometers far from Tabriz.
The two are asking for directions to Gholam Reza Fatih, who runs the village workshop. The raw silk comes from other regions of Iran, but it is spun and processed here. 200 families in the village make their living from knotting carpets. 120 to 140 knots per square centimeter are required to make a carpet of the highest quality.
25,000 ties
25,000 knots
per day
between the four of them.
between the four.
So it's 8,000 knots per person per day. Wow.
To this day, Persian carpets are made mainly in cottage industries like this one, Arash is told.
He's not satisfied with his job. He doesn't work to labor in such a difficult job and earn for a little money. But he has no way out. He doesn't know any other job to do.
This work is so intricate, it's amazing. I'm this far away and I still can't work out how it's done. The amount of knots you have to pay to earn your money, it's yeah, this is not an easy job.
Some 400 kilometers east, Bradley follows a path that leads him into Iran's highest mountain range. He is on the trail of the assassins.
We've still got about 70 kilometers of roads to go up in the mountains. Back in Marco Polo's day, this is the center of a violent, enigmatic sect. We're going to check it out.
Marco Polo describes some of the places he visits in just a few lines, but he devotes 3 long chapters of his book to these mountains and to the assassins, the Al-Qaeda of his time.
I think he was recounting one of the major stories of the day. This was something he'd heard all along the Silk Road. It'd been kind of whispered down the stages, and he'd heard this story, and this was the big news of the time. It's got everything. It's got murders, assassinations, it's got castles up in the mountains, it's got images of paradise, it's even got racy references to women. So it's a very exotic story he was recounting back to his readers back in Europe.
Deep in the Elborz mountain range lay the headquarters of the assassins, hidden away on an impregnable rock.
This is where Hassan al-Sabah created this earthly paradise. He would drug up these young warriors with hashish, he says, hashishin, the assassins. He would then drop them in this beautiful garden, these streams of honey and milk, beautiful flowers everywhere. And according to Marco Polo, these young women, experts in the arts of love. It's a very kind of salacious little comment. And then the old man would take them out of the garden, bring them back here and say, I can take you back to paradise. I have this power anytime I want. And now if you do my bidding, I can bring you back here.
Killings, assassinations, and suicide missions were the hallmarks of the so-called assassins, who can be considered the first suicide bombers in history. Viziers, princes, the Caliph of Egypt, famous statesmen of their time, all fell victim. The remnants of their fortresses are all that remain.
Sending out these young men on religious or politically motivated assassinations, fueling these guys with the idea of martyrdom and paradise. I mean, for me, if you then add some words like Al-Qaeda or suicide bombers, there is a parallel to the modern world. Not here, not Iran. I'm not talking about the Iranian regime here at all in any way, but on a more general level, there does seem to be some parallels. There does seem to be even some inspiration.
For 3 decades, Iran has been an Islamic republic, a theocracy in which all power lies in the hands of the religious leaders. Staying with Arash saves Bradley the cost of an hotel, which is fine with him. No one becomes a guidebook writer to get rich.
Hi, it's Bradley. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Everything's good. I'm still alive. I'm in Tehran. Yeah, I can't believe it either. They actually gave me a visa. Yeah, everything's going well. No problems. People are great. The only problem I have is money. So I was hoping maybe we could get that second advance paid. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, perfect. Good. Okay. Cheers. Bye-bye. So how do you know which car's a taxi? They all look the same to me.
Yeah, in Iran, every car can be a cab. So
anyone?
It's supposed as a second job for most of people. When the window is a little bit open, you shout your destination to the driver. Shah Abdol Azim.
The two are heading to the holy shrine of Shah Abdol Azim in the south of Tehran. Arash explains that taxis in Tehran don't simply go where you want. You take them to a certain location and then take another cab.
You speak English. Where you come from?
Yeah, and you speak English too.
Yeah, a little.
I'm from England. And how's life in Tehran?
Oh, not bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, we are used to.
Do you have any modern Iranian music you can play?
Yeah, of course I have.
Yeah, that would be good.
I can play my own music from a band.
You have your own band?
Yes, I'm a musician. Can hear your band.
Ali Reza Tabatabai is a drummer in an underground band. They arrange to meet in the evening.
Ali Reza, nice to meet you. Great, thank you. Hope to see you tonight.
Yeah.
In the southern outskirts of Tehran lies the grave of Abdul Azim, a descendant of Imam Hussein, who is held in high esteem throughout Shia Islam.
The people come to holy shrines for praying and crossing their fingers for important issues like marriage, important exams, or the issues of private life.
Only believers are allowed to visit the grave of the Imam. As a non-Muslim, Bradley has to wait outside.
There are tens of thousands of shrines or imamzadeh across Iran. This is the third or fourth most holiest shrine in the area. There is a great, wellspring of faith, and this is one place where you can go and express that. And it's a very important part of the Iranian psyche. It's very much government supported as well.
Connected to the shrine is a mosque. On Friday, the believers attend the weekly sermon, which frequently has a political agenda. But mainly, people are mourning the death of Imam Hussein, a grandson of the Prophet who was killed by Sunni assassins 1400 years ago. To Shiites, he is their most important martyr. Back to the city centre with the brand new metro line number 1 towards Imam Khomeini Square.
This is rush hour in Tehran. First. I'm going to go and see that drummer, you know, the guy we met in the taxi? He says I can go and listen to his band, so I'll head up to North Tehran.
I'm worried about you if you are going to be lost. You're in Tehran, you cannot speak Farsi.
No problem. I'll find my way, no problem. Okay.
Go out.
Well, I'll see you later, yeah? See you tonight.
See you.
Okay. Do you have any payom? I don't know what I'm going to see with the taxi driver, but his music was pretty cool. He seemed like a good guy, so yeah, why not? Let's try it, follow it up, you know, see what happens.
It seems to be the right part of town, but which street and which house? Better to ask again. Mostarim means straight ahead.
Well, I still don't know where I'm going, but I will find it.
Ali Reza's band plays illegally. We walk, but we don't get ahead, they sing. Like in a cage we live, imprisoned. The world is turning, but we are stuck. Balgard, or Helicopter, is the name of the band. Their music is available only in Canada or on the internet.
It's very hard for me to understand the two different sides of the things I see in Iran.
It's hard. Actually, it's hard for us too. if the music is okay, so everyone should play, and the people should vote for good music and bad music. Distortion guitars are not allowed. That's and powerful drums are not allowed.
Is there a government list of things? No distortion,
yes.
Actually, no wah-wah pedals.
Yeah, like that, you know. We have so many fans here. They never see us playing live for them.
And there's no way at all that you will ever get permission?
It's too dangerous. No, it's too dangerous.
Hey people, let's do our own thing, they say in the song Mirim O Mirim. In this world, there is no space for us.
In the CD label, you see none of our faces and not our original names. There are some nicknames like Yushenk, Teban, Shah, and no photos of us. But we have now on Facebook some of our photos in live performance, so it's a step to show our faces now. But the greatest thing would be to play for our guys in Tehran. That would be the greatest.
Do you think that could happen?
No, I don't.
Not in
a
long time.
Bradley and Arash want to move on. From Tehran, the Silk Road leads straight eastward to Afghanistan, but the Polos took a different way, and so does Bradley.
I've been following the main Silk Road from Tabriz going through Tehran, and then I'm actually branching off south now, following like an extension of the Silk Road that connected the main Silk Road to the sea.
The Polos traveled south through the vast deserts of Iran towards the Persian Gulf. Their initial plan was to travel by ship to India and continue from there overland to China. The truck stops on the highways are modern-day caravanserais, the oases of the truck drivers. Arash negotiates a lift on motorway 71.
Truck drivers are great. This guy wasn't going our way, but yeah, generally it's good. Lots of short stops. We're kind of hopping in between oases, which is what the people like Marco Polo and the old caravans would have done. They never went, from one part of the continent to the other in one stretch. They were always going little stretches. So, but yeah, it's good. The drivers are friendly, and there's no alcohol here, so there's no drink driving, which is great.
You never have to wait long, and if the cabin is already full, people shift up to make space.
Iran is the most surprising place on the trip so far. It's got such a terrible reputation. I told my wife and family I was going to Iran. I'm sure they're all completely worried about me. But it's been completely different from what I expected. Very friendly people, very young. Lots of invitations for tea, dinner. It's just been the most delightful place to travel to. We didn't quite get as far as the Persian Gulf, but it's getting late. And this is one of the nicest oasis towns of central Iran, so we're going to stay here for the night.
Marco Polo stopped here as well. He passed through almost all of the oasis towns of the great Iranian desert. They line up like beads on a string. This is one of the smaller ones. Kashan is not exactly bustling at night, but Arash and Bradley have heard about a very old and very Persian tradition. The sound of prayer and recitation leads them to the Zurkhaneh, which literally means house of strength. The athletes start by praying and reciting verses from the Persian epics. The tradition reaches back into Iran's pre-Islamic past. The exercises begin. Some of them have their roots in Sufism, the mystical face of Islam. The aim is to maximize courage, selflessness, and strength. In earlier times, the ancient sport was a way to keep the men fit for war. The Zurkhaneh tradition was outlawed when Islam conquered the Persian Empire in the 7th century. Later, it found its way into Islamic culture. Here's Bradley. Morshed, the master of the group, marks rhythm and controls the pace of the exercises with clubs of different size and weight. The heaviest clubs weigh 20 kilos each. respect for ethical values, faith in the Prophet, and loyalty to the Imams. This is what makes a true Iranian Pahlavan today. Pahlavan means hero as well as wrestler. There is a strict hierarchy. There are beginners, regular heroes, strong heroes, and national heroes, and even world heroes. On the road once again through the Dasht-e Kavir, the Great Salt Desert. These craftsmen are heading for the ancient oasis city of Yazd in central Iran. On their way, they have business to do at the foot of these mountains. The Persian Qanat system is 4,000 years old. Marco Polo described it, and here, in this region, lies its origin. A Qanat is an ancient drinking water channel. From the foot of the mountains, water is channeled underground into the oases to prevent it from evaporating or becoming polluted.
This Qanat system may just look like a hole in the ground, but really it's the lifeblood of the desert. Without this system of water, there wouldn't be these oasis towns. Without the oasis towns, there wouldn't be these trade centres, these trade routes. The Silk Road round here would bypass it. Marco Polo wouldn't have come down here. So you've got this little hole in the ground to thank for all of that stuff.
قدیمی شده دیگه حالا نه صرفش نمیکنه زحمت داره ترس داره هول داره به قول ما یزدی‌ها نسل جوان حالا ما دیگه مگر اون با اصطلاح امروز چیه کامپیوتر رو از این حرفا بیان کارا بکنن دیگه کارایی که ما میکنیم محاله.
Almost 30,000 Qanats, a system of 300,000 kilometers, provides for villages and cities in Iran to the present day.
Hope to see you again, Marco Polo.
Some of these Qanats are 70 meters deep. This one's not quite that deep, but still it's very small and it feels very claustrophobic. But the water is crystal clear and beautifully cool. It's just wonderful. This is great. I never thought I'd be this close to a Persian Qanat.
One of the world's oldest cities. Its origins stretch 7,000 years into the past. The old town of Yazd, built on sun-dried clay, a labyrinth of narrow streets. Above the rooftops loom badgirs, wind catchers, which are cooling down the blazing midsummer heat. The city's skyline didn't look very different when Marco Polo was here. He would certainly have seen the Friday Mosque. It remains in place, although its appearance was altered in the 14th century, some 100 years after Marco Polo. Its richly adorned interior is vaulted by a self-supporting dome. The technique of constructing such domes was first invented by Persian master builders.
You can imagine you being on a caravan through the desert for several days. As you see this blue, the portals of the mosques, you see the tall minarets from probably 2 days before you even get there. And you come in and you've got cool water, you've got running streams, you've got these badgirs which bring all the cooled air. It's an oasis of sophistication for travellers. They'd have been very glad to pull into Yazd for sure.
In his book, a travel log entitled The Wonders of the World, Marco Polo writes,
Yazd also is properly in Persia. It is a good and noble city and has a great amount of trade. They weave their quantities of a certain silk tissue known as Yazd, which merchants carry into many quarters to dispose of. This, I think, is the Terme brocade that the city was famous for. So it'll be interesting to head down into the bazaar. You see this line of domes or cupolas? That's the roof of the bazaar. So it'll be interesting to head down there and see if they're still selling this after a good 700 years since Marco Polo was here.
For 2,000 years, henna has been ground in the mills of Yazd. In former days, they were powered by camels. In a Persian bazaar, craft and trade lie side by side. The silk tissue described by Marco Polo was in great demand in Venice by the rich and beautiful. The material embroidered with gold and silver thread was called broccato by the merchants of Venice, meaning embroidery.
This stuff is brocade. There's different types. There's the silk tissue, there's the brocade and the cloth. And this stuff would have been traded up and down the Silk Road. It was a high value, low weight commodity. So it would have been traded all the way through to Venice, where I'm sure this would have been on for sale somewhere in the Rialto Square. And some Venetian prince, probably a relative of Marco Polo, would have bought some at some point.
The neighborhood of Elborz at the edge of the city. Almost all the houses around here have been abandoned.
Seems like this place is completely deserted.
Once Yazd was the center of Zoroastrianism, the ancient Persian religion. Its god was worshipped in the form of fire. Only very few fire worshippers are left here. Farah and her husband Banu are the last ones in this road. All their children and grandchildren have moved away. Most of them to America, Bradley understands. Others to Canada and Tehran. Today, the Zoroastrians are scattered all over the world. Arash tries to find reasons for the decline of the religion in its country of origin. Most of the people here were farmers, says Banu. As water has become increasingly expensive, many Zoroastrians moved away. From originally 500 people in this quarter, there are just 10 left. The Islamic Republic of Iran granted them the status of a protected religious minority. Nevertheless, Zoroastrians feel marginalized.
Yeah, Yazd was really the heartland of the Zoroastrian community in Iran and pretty much in the world. Since then, there's a lot of moved away to India, where they're the Parsi community. But yeah, it's in its heart, in the Islamic Republic of Iran. There's not much space left for Zoroastrians.
Not far from Farah's house is the small neighborhood temple. The deity, Ahura Mazda, is worshipped in the form of a flame. Between 1000 and 1500 BC, Zoroaster founded his religion as the first monotheistic religion of humanity.
Yeah, 180 seats and just a handful of Zoroastrians left. It feels like the last echo of a disappearing religion to me.
On the southern edge of the city, the Towers of Silence. For the fire worshippers of Yazd, the final resting place.
this is where the Zoroastrians come to dispose of their bodies. They believe that burying them in the ground is polluting the earth. So the bodies would have been laid here, cut up, and then left for the sun and the vultures, and the bones would have fallen down into this hole.
In the 1970s, this type of burial was forbidden. Nowadays, the youth of the city meet at the Towers of Silence for motocross.
You guys know that this is a Zoroastrian graveyard? Would you do the same thing if this was an Islamic graveyard?
شب میری میترسی اگه شب اینجا میری چه خبره میای میپری هیچ اونجا میری یک چیزی جلویت میاد.
Bradley and Arash want to go further south. This time they've decided to hire a car, which in Iran can be found at any street corner.
Another class ride, as you can see. This is a Persian car, Iran's national car. Design's hardly changed in 45 years, but hopefully it'll get us through the desert. Let's go, Marco Polo!
About 750 years ago, Marco Polo, together with his father and uncle, must have passed by here somewhere. They needed to cross these mountains. But which route did they take exactly?
One of the easiest crossings where there's habitation. So I'm pretty sure he would have gone on either of these two routes. Well, we could take the highway and we'd be down on the coast in about 4 hours. But we're going to make life difficult for ourselves and try and take one of these mountain paths and try and match the topography with Marco Polo's description. Well, this is what travelling's all about for me. Tracking down routes, places, doing some detective work, digging around a little bit, asking people about what they know about the route. This is what guidebook writing is, and this is right up my street. It's great.
Bradley and Arash have left the desert plains behind them. Now they are looking for a way through the mountains that separate the desert from the Persian Gulf. Silent witnesses to the Silk Road line the route. Deserted oases, the ruins of caravanserais. Almost like a modern-day travel guide, the Venetian writes of wells, provision points, and places to sleep along the route to the Persian Gulf. He also points out goods and resources along the route. Rare metals, for instance. Marco Polo mentions veins of iron from which a high-grade steel was smelted to forge swords, armor, and shields. Information on such commodities was of great strategic value at the time. Still today, this part of Iran is well known for mining and smelting.
This is very impressive. You can feel the heat on your face, you can smell the chemicals in the air. This is exactly what Marco Polo was writing about when he talked about the heavy metals in the area, the iron, the copper. He even talks about smelting and furnaces. So yeah, we were lucky we just bumped into this. It's just by the side of the road. It just fits in perfectly.
Apart from metals, he also reports on the murderous black bandits of these mountains, the Karaunas.
If you see someone trying to flag us down, just keep going straight, okay? Don't stop. You can now descending down to the coastal plains. This is where Marco Polo writes about the Karaunas, this kind of strange half Mongol, half Baluchi collection of bandits. He reckons 10,000 bandits roamed this area and had the ability to create this black fog over the whole kind of plain here, and then they would come across and pick up anybody they could find, sell them into slavery or kill them.
Where the mountains drop to the sea lies Arash and Bradley's destination. In the Middle Ages, the old port of Hormuz was located somewhere here. The Polos were planning to travel by ship to India and to get from there to China.
Not much left, just a narrow waterway, a few dhows. It's just a faint echo, really, of what Marco Polo would have seen when he came here.
Dhows, the Arabian coastal vessels, are still at anchor, and dates are loaded as in earlier days.
Now, Marco Polo says their ships are wretched affairs, and many of them get lost. And then he goes on to say, hence 'tis a perilous business to go on a voyage in one of these ships, and many of them are lost, for in that sea of India, the storms are often terrible. So when Marco Polo came here, he was far from impressed with the quality of the boats, but looking at them here, they're not modern boats, but they're in good shape. They look pretty good for a sea crossing, so the ones Marco Polo must have seen. I mean, he was a Venetian, he knew his boats.
Why, in the end, didn't Marco Polo board a ship to India? Why did he reject his initial plan? Perhaps the clue lies on a small offshore island in the Persian Gulf. In the 2,000-year-old city of Laft, the old wooden cargo vessels are still being constructed to this day. His day begins in the mosque. Haji Zakaria Safari has sailed on dhows as far as India and East Africa. Nobody knows more about dhows and their construction. After working as a captain for more than 40 years, he now runs his own shipyard. Today, the sailing vessels are equipped with diesel engines, but they still sail the coastal waters of the Indian Ocean. Perhaps Haji Safari can explain why Marco Polo didn't trust the Arabic sailing vessels. Arash asks about the differences between the dhows of the Middle Ages and the dhows of today.
البته اولا بوم ساختن سنبوک ساختن یه دو نمونه دیگر و اما بعد که پاکستان و هندوستان از یک طرز دیگه عوض کرد ساخت حالا ما همون طرزی که پاکستان و هند میسازه داره میسازه ترسش الکی بوده ترس نداره نه تناب ترس داره نه میخ ترس داره نه چوبی ترس داره
I mean, Haji's boats look great. I mean, they're really well made, first class. But you can imagine 700 years ago, and they were held together with bits of coconut rope and fish fat, that they probably looked pretty bad to Marco Polo's eyes. And I mean, this was a serious decision for Marco Polo. This was the real hinge point of his trip, a real pivotal moment. And these boats, he must have thought these boats were really awful to choose this unknown route through the deserts of Asia rather than this maritime route to India. My own personal theory, maybe he just got here and he was told, 6 months until the monsoon winds come, you've got to sit here in the baking 45-degree heat for the next 6 months, and he just went, no way, I can't take it. I'd rather go through the deserts and see what happens there.
Arash flies back to Tehran, and Bradley Mayhew, like Marco Polo, will continue his journey to China overland.
there space for one? One? Mashhad?
Bradley is now heading northeast. It takes 1,000 kilometers to cross through the largest of the Iranian deserts, the Dasht-e. Any transport is welcome, as long as it comes.
Hi honey, it's me. And how things are at home? Yep. Oh great, that's good. Yeah, Afghanistan is next. Yeah, I know, I'm going to take care, don't worry. Yeah, I should be crossing over the border in a day or two. Yeah, thanks honey.